Good afternoon everybody and welcome to my studio. I am working on this week's video, which you're about to see hopefully. The reason I'm in my studio is part of what this video is about, which is being able to adapt your plans. You will see why I've had to adapt my plans as this video goes on, because not only did what I want to do change hugely, I lost a crucial piece of equipment and that ended up, well, I tell you what, stick around and you'll see where that ended up. Three things I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk a little bit about composition, so that you can set your photographs up for your friends and your family and whoever else is going to look at it, just to make them a little bit better. Two is adapting your plans, being able to change as and when the situation around you changes. And number three, unsurprisingly, is my ongoing love-hate relationship with lapel microphones, on-camera microphones, muffs, and all other types of audio recording equipment. You may see that I have a new one here. Ooh. Stick around and you'll find out why. I'll be back later in the video, but in the meantime, hope you enjoy. Good morning everyone and welcome to a day at the beach. It's not quite the weather I was anticipating, and one of the things we're going to talk about is what to do when your plans change. Really important to make sure you are not so tied to one thing that you can't adapt, and I'm having to adapt. If you saw my video last week, you would have seen that it was very sunny, very nice, didn't have a jacket on, and I thought it was going to be the same, but last night the snow came and you can see that over on the hills. Not so much over this side, but up behind me, you can see through the trees. Definitely some snowfall last night. So that's what we're going to talk about today. A couple of things. I'm going to take you on a tour around Loch Lomond. We're starting off in a place called Firkin Point, and for those that live locally, you'll know exactly what I'm about to take a photograph of. The second thing is I wanted to try and give some advice to those of you who take photographs with your mobile phones. Just a couple of things that you can do to make them more interesting for yourself and for the viewer. I wanted to just quickly talk about composition. This, as you can see, is quite a nice scene. You have the beach, you've got the water lapping at the beach, some really nice clouds, and a really good vista of Loch Lomond hills. So yeah, that'd be a nice photograph to take and pass off to your friends. However, if you back up, have a look about, see if there's anything on the ground, you might find something else. Don't just take the first thing that you see, because that is the most impressive thing. But if you can frame your shot slightly better, then you'll get a much better result when you're finished, and the people you show it to will be mighty impressed. Here's the foreground I've got. Let's have a look. We have the lone tree and we have the rock in front. And I have my camera set up to try and capture both of those things. I'm trying to keep the tree a little bit off to the side in the image, just so you can see down the loch. But I think you'll agree, that makes a much better image, stronger image. There's something for the person to look at, rather than just their eyes scanning about the photograph at a lovely big scene. Again, as with always, I'll take a photograph here, and if it turns out any good, I'll show you. And onwards, let's crack on. did I? I'm ready to vlog. Another good thing to bear in mind is patience is a virtue, as they say. The photograph that I showed you earlier, the sky behind was okay, it wasn't fantastically impressive, but I don't know if you can see over my shoulder now, it's starting to open up a wee bit. The sun is over there, so there might be a chance that this little gap will pass the sun. We may get some rays onto the scene, and I don't mean Manzarek or Ray Davies. But David, we don't all have fantastic withered trees that we can take photographs when we go out a walk. I get that. The principle remains the same, is just look for something that can add a little bit of balance to your photograph and something to draw your eye into the frame. I have a very small leading line in the corner of this frame, but you can see what I'm trying to set up here. So again, we've got the vista out there. I keep using the word vista, I'll change that. Lovely view. It's a lovely view out there. You can see the snow on the hills and also in the air as it moves through. Bit of blue sky starting to show up as well. However, the shot that I've got here, I'm going quite wide at 24mm, and in my shot I found these 3 rocks, and they lead up here. So even from that angle there, you can see if I leave it there, it's a better image. There is something there just to add a little bit of an anchor point in the scene. Again, when you're taking your own photographs with your mobile phones, try and look for something in the foreground that frames or anchors the shot for the person that's looking at it. Welcome to Luss. If you've never been to Luss, Luss is a fantastic place. This is where the real beach is. It used to be a lot deeper from front to back, but with rising tides and all that good stuff, it's a little bit narrower than it used to be. However, it's still stunning. And as you can see, the light is starting to kick off a little bit behind me. We're going to get the drone up and hopefully fly some stuff over there. And I even have some duck friends with me. Let's see what we can get here. This is the pier in Luss. Very iconic photograph location. I'm thinking we could maybe fly the drone off here. If you don't see any drone footage in this week's video, you know there's been a terrible accident. It's a spectacular view from down here. Again, makes a good point of what I was saying earlier on about taking photographs with your mobile phone. If you go too far to the end of the jetty or the pier, the main subject is everything in the distance. So you can see there are a few wee things on the jetty that you could bring in. That there actually would not be too bad a photograph. And then it looks back into the lovely, absolutely glorious village of Luss. Those noises you heard are because I was typing on a keyboard that wasn't doing anything smooth. I thought I'd come back and tell you exactly what happened while I was out. I thought it would be nice to fly the drone off the pier at Luss, beautiful place. And also I thought I'd kill two birds with one stone because my gorgeous, gorgeous wife-to-be, Nancy, bought me the Peak Design over-the-shoulder camera bag, sling bag, that thing. In fact, she bought me this and I absolutely love it. It's fantastic. I had that over my shoulder. You may see that in the video. And you may also see where a microphone would sit in relation to that. So when it became time to fly the drone, I decided to take the bag off, and the strap of the bag took the microphone, took the muff, took everything right off me. And you can only imagine as I stood there and watched how it bounced. It bounced again, it bounced a little bit more, it bounced, then it rolled a little bit, it rolled a wee bit more, and then what happened was it just finished right on the edge of two different planks, stayed there for a wee second, and then tipped into the loch. So as I sit here just now with my new microphone, which is a DJI mic, my old Rode mic is currently at the bottom of Loch Lomond. You might also notice from the video I didn't talk much about adapting plans, because at that point I hadn't adapted my plans, because at that point I didn't realise how much I was going to have to adapt my plans. You might have noticed that after I lost my microphone, I went back to the car and did a piece to camera telling you about what had just happened without a microphone. So that made me look good. It wasn't really until I'd calmed down, because you can imagine losing a piece of gear is never a nice thing. I calmed down a little bit and realised that the only things I had left were flying the drone and doing a piece to camera to fill in the gaps. What I did realise was that if you slow down at that point, don't panic, and think about what you want to do next. I decided at that point to get the drone back up. I decided to go looking for some photographs that I could put into the video, albeit the weather conditions were not particularly good. But by slowing down a little bit, I didn't ruin the whole day, and you have a video to watch this week. Before I had went out that day, the plan was the weather might make me have to adapt my plans, not losing equipment and going in a bad mood and throwing my toys out the pram. What I made sure before I left was that I checked the weather. I had an idea of how many fingers am I counting here? 7? What I did the night before was I made sure that I'd been on the weather forecasting app. I use the Met Office. It's not hugely accurate. I know there are better ones out there. But I use photo pills, which is great for telling me where and when the sun's going to set, rise, moon, all of that sort of stuff. It's got a load of other features in there that are fantastic for photographers. I use Google Earth because it gives me an idea of what I'm going to see from the position that I'm standing in taking photographs. It's not fully accurate, but it does give you an idea of if there are mountains that are going to block the sunset or the sunrise or the Milky Way. Yeah, so those three things: photo pills, Google Earth, and a solid weather app. But still, things will happen that you're not prepared for. You've seen what happened to me. Just don't give up. Just keep going. So it wasn't a perfect day, not by any stretch of the imagination. But I finished off by getting the drone back up. There are a couple of shots that I'll finish off here. But yeah, just keep going. Never give up. This might not be the best video that I've ever done. I'm hoping that you'll enjoy it. And if you do, give it a thumbs up, give it a like, and I would be over the moon if you could subscribe. It's nice to see that people are actually watching what I'm doing. But I'll just keep going anyway, because as I said, never give up. Anyway, I'm going to finish off with some drone footage, as I said, so I'm going to turn back to my imaginary keyboard and do work. So thank you for tuning in. Yeah, bananas are up.